Hello there, Pursuing Freedom friends. Thanks for being with us today. As always, I appreciate you tuning in. We've got a great episode here for you if you're ready to be inspired on a major level. We've got Doan, who is the founder of Doan Realty Group out of the Twin Cities in Minnesota, and it is the fastest growing real estate company in Minnesota. He had a background in the mortgage industry, made the transition to real estate, basically during the famous market crash of 0809, which I think is fascinating. And he's got an amazing story for us today. So we're just going to jump right in. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Aaron.
Yeah, I'm really excited to dig in. So tell the listeners a little bit about your backstory because it is fascinating, inspiring, and I'm sure it's going to leave our listeners really uplifted and excited to get out there and crush it in their own lives.
Yes, so I'm originally from Vietnam, came to America back in the early 80s when, right shortly after American withdrew from Vietnam. So the communists came in, my mom and dad, and have us three kids. I was the oldest of three brothers. I was 8 at the time. My two younger brothers were 4 and 2, and my dad was a professor. So the communists, they usually have what called re-education camp. So anybody who can think for themselves is a threat. So my dad was actually arrested as a political prisoner or prisoner of conscience when I was the age of 8 years old. And I did not see him again until I was 32 years old. Wow. So at the age of 13, I had no future in Vietnam because things were happening. Keep a condensed version of it. I became and left Vietnam as one of those boat people that you might have seen in history books, movies, TV, where hundreds of people on top of a little fishing boat floating. That was me. I was one of those with less than 50% survival rate. I was 13 on my own by myself. After 3 tries, luckily I made it the third time. Luckily I did not die. I survived, and I made it to a refugee camp in Malaysia. At the time, the Red Cross set up a bunch of refugee camps around Vietnam. And the refugee camp I was at was nicknamed at the time Hell Island in the Wikipedia page right now. Bidong is the island I was on. It was said to be the most heavily populated place on earth. I was one of 40,000 people on the size of a football field. Because I was an orphan at the age of 13 by myself, I only had to stay there for 9 months, where people were there for 4 to 5 to 6, 7 years. And I came to America. I ended up in Minnesota, where my uncle lives, who's my dad's brother. And that's kind of my short story, quick, short version of it.
Well, so that was one of the questions I was going to ask you is, where did you wind up and how did you escape what would have been a really typical response to that experience would be to be kind of a victim mindset. And so for you to be where you are today, given those circumstances, I think is pretty outstanding. So I imagine your uncle must have been a great influence in your life.
Yeah, so I'll go back a little further. So the first night I made it to the island, this is after 11 days, right? So 3 to 5 days underneath a secret compartment where, if you ever been outdoor activity on a concert or camping, you go on one of those satellites, right, to use the restroom, and it hasn't been cleaned for a long time. Imagine being in there for 3 days, right? That's the condition you're in because people are like, going to the bathroom, thrown up while we're fishing off the Mekong River until we float out because we're smuggling people. And then made it float. The plan is get picked up by somebody that's not a pirate, because at the time there was plenty of pirates out there, and then get to a refugee camp where you would announce or declare the country you want to go to, and then you have to be sponsored by somebody. So I ended up in Minnesota because both my aunt and uncle both sponsored me. But anyways, my first night there after 11 days of being gone was when I checked in, I was able to send a telegram to my mom. I was 13 years old, right? We all have kids, many of us do, listeners, I'm sure. You send your kids off down the street to a neighbor for a sleepover. You're probably checking on them all the time. Imagine being 11 days and not know if your kids made it or died, right? So that was a big thing already. So the first night at the refugee camp, I found a spot on the beach. I mean, it was extremely crowded, but people starting to settle in. They all going to bed. So I found a spot on the beach because this is my third try. I tried it twice without going into a lot of detail. I didn't think I was going to make this the third time because when my mom said bye to me and hand me off to a stranger, I was thinking, all right, Mom, I'll see you in a few days, because the last 2 times I didn't make it. I came back. And mom told me, she's proud of me, don't be afraid, you can do this. And it finally hit me that night. I sat on the beach and also realized, holy smoke, I made it, and then I start, all this emotion rushes in to where I feel like, oh my God, am I lucky? Am I unlucky that I'm here? Am I lucky that I made it and beat the odds and got here? Am I unlucky that why am I the one having to do this trip, right? Why am I taking this journey? I mean, you have a lot of pressure on me because I'm the firstborn. I have to figure out how to survive now, and I have to figure out how to help the rest of my family back in Vietnam. So I remember crying pretty much all night. I found a spot, not a lot of people know where it's at, and I started crying all night thinking, am I lucky? Am I unlucky? Am I lucky? And I kept thinking over and over and over again, because everybody I know, my friends, my family, everybody knows on the other side of that ocean. Okay? And I'm over here by myself. I don't know anybody. Now I got to figure out what to do for myself and how to help everybody else back there. So I remember finally the sun coming up and you can start hearing people starting to move around. So I'm like, all right, I decided at that time. And that's when I figured out that mindset is everything, right? I decided at the time that I was lucky instead of unlucky. And that's when I learned that, you can take the victim mentality versus the victim mentality. And the rest of my life could have been, I didn't amount to anything because I was 13 when I left. I was on my own. What am I supposed to do? I didn't even speak English when I came to America. What the heck? I should be lucky where I'm at, right? But yet, that night is the reason why I do what I do all the time now. I share with people my story all the time in my business, whatever I do. All I want to do is help people. Because I believe, first of all, we're in a people business, right? So you help people, money will come. But my point is that my why is from that night on the beach, that I never want anyone to feel the way I felt. Like, you can't even help yourself. How are you going to help other people? So I want to help people to get to the point where they can only help themselves, but help other people. And that's when I learned the victim-victor mentality when I was at the age of 13 on that night on the beach.
I love that, victim versus victor. And I need to queue up some questions because I was brought to tears with that story. And as a mother, especially, I think this might be one of the first times I'm a little choked up and trying to move forward. That is a powerful, powerful story. There's a lot there. So let's jump ahead a little bit. Did you always know? I mean, you obviously had to be mature beyond your years had that experience at the age of 13. So as you were navigating, the next 10 years, working through the high school, college age or whatever, how early on did you know that you needed to build your own empire, that you were going to be your own leader, your own boss, and be self-employed and go on to do the amazing things you've done?
Yeah. So at the end of the day, what I figured really, really early on is that whatever you think you can be, right? So if you think that you're a victim, you'll be a victim. You think victim, victor, but also that you cannot do anything by yourself. You either have to get lucky or get help from somebody. Of course, I did most of the work myself, but the opportunities still have to be presented. And then the opportunities have to be taken advantage of. And then most of the time, you're not doing it by yourself because someone's around you is helping you. This is why I want to always pay it forward and help other people, because other people through my journey and help me get to where I'm at. So we can never do anything by ourselves, but yet everything start with us, right? So what I learned from all of this is that, at the end of the day, you're in control of your own destiny, but you need to surround yourself with people who you're aligned with that can help you, whether it be your partners, your mentors, your coach, your agents, your loan officer, whatever your end goal is, reverse engineer it back, because system run business, people run system. Come up with process and system, and then put the right people into place to give you the best chance of success.
So talk to me a little bit about the size of your organization now. You mentioned you're the fastest growing real estate company in Minnesota. Can we dig into that? What exactly does that mean? What is your...
So my first 15 years, I was on the mortgage side, and my last 12 years in real estate. So I actually transitioned from mortgage to real estate in 07, 08. All of us old enough to remember those fun times, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember all my real estate friends was telling me, Milong, you're crazy. Why you want to go into real estate right now? I was like a fireman running to a burning building and everyone's running out. But what I saw was opportunities. So most of us never do this, either personally or professionally, do what we call the SWOT test, like the SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunity, threat. When you identify weakness and threat, those are opportunities for you to come up with solutions and then grow from it. So so right away, I knew that foreclosure is going to be kind of a big thing, and I shared it with a few people, and they all laughed at me. It's just a hiccup. Yeah, this is America. This real estate. That doesn't happen very often. So I research out, and I believe we're in the people business because that's all about relationship, like belly to belly. Building relationships. So I went to Dallas more often than not because that's where all the big banks were: Freddie, Fannie, HUD, Bank of America, you name it. So I went there to meet what we call asset managers at the time. So these are the people who deal with foreclosure. So I went build a relationship with them. That's how I closed 1,000 transactions my first 4 years in the real estate industry. 2014 is when I started growing the brokerage because at the time, foreclosure was starting to decline, which is good for the economy. But for me, that's how I got into the real estate space. So then I wanted to start growing the brokerage and talk about not being able to do it yourself. I had a partner. His name is Mike Bonnier. He is with me still now, my business partner now. So Mike and I became partners to start growing Realty Group. And our vision was we want to be the broker we wish we had when we were agents, because many agents struggle, right? And they can't do very well. So so that's what we did. And we had about 8 agents at the time. Today we're over 400. I think we're 420 plus or something like that, and growing. The fastest growing real estate company in Minnesota, the #1 independently owned, all because how can we help others?
So talk to me a little bit about this, because as agents that are listening, whether they're either a leader themselves or contemplating starting their own brokerage, or they're an agent who is feeling somewhat unsettled with the support that they're receiving from their brokerage, what does that mean to you to be the broker you wished you had when you were?
So in our model, we treat every agent as a CEO of their own company. That's what we believe in, right? Whether you're in mortgage, insurance, real estate, you own your own business. You could be aligned or work with a company, but you still run your own business. So we have what we call a plug and play partnership model. So when they plug into our system and process, our only core purpose, they help them grow their real estate business through professional and personal growth, training, coaching, support, technology, everything you're gonna need to run the real estate business we provide, okay? So the reason that we have this unique model is when they come to us, we identify what struggles they are having and challenges and offer solutions. So for example, on the real estate space, including mortgage and insurance and most businesses, the very first challenge that all agents are going to have is consistent income. Okay, how can I start making enough money? You shared with me earlier how you struggle at one point, how to have consistent income. So we'll figure out how can we help you have consistent income so that this is now a career to you, not just a job, right? This is where you see yourself growing. And then once you have mastered that challenge, the next group of our agent challenge is to be more efficient. If I'm doing 8 to 15 deals a year, how can I do 15 to 30? Because my time is limited. So how can I be more efficient so I can double my business without still having a balance in life and have a family and all that stuff, right? So we come up with solutions for that. And then the third one, once they get to this level, because most people make a mistake to jump right to scaling because they think they should hire people and do all the stuff, is scaling and growth. So once you have a consistent income, you can now reinvest into being more efficient. And once you become more efficient, you can now start scaling and growing, because if you skip and go right to scale and grow, your inefficiency and your inconsistent income will just magnify. It actually make it worse. And that's why you start getting in trouble with your business. So that's one thing that we do at our brokerage, is to be the broker we wish we had when we were an agent, someone who helped us navigate through those challenges based on whatever stage you are in your journey.
Okay, so I want to explore this further, because if someone's listening and they have yet to experience and enjoy consistent income, which I think is a very common struggle in our industry, because what happens is you see people that are hungry and they're willing to do the work, and they get out there and they hustle, and then they spike in volume, and they're so excited that they nurture all that business, and then they forget to go out there and continue to grow, and then it dries up. And so the consistent income is like a major issue in our industry. So how do you guys attack that problem first and foremost?
So for every business, when you're a business owner, your biggest challenge is how to acquire more customers, right? I don't care if you have the best service or the best product. If people don't know about you, don't use you, you can't do business.
Right.
So then for people, first challenge of consistent income is prospecting. How can you have a process system? Because as I mentioned earlier, system run business, people run system. How can you have a process system for prospecting that you consistently do every day? Because the real estate and the mortgage space that you are in, when we ask you how they're doing, they usually do one of these, right? The up and down. Because you got 3-4 deals closing, you focus all on it, and then after you close, you start all over again. We're in one of those industries where we're constantly interviewing for a job, and then we're trying to do our best to lose our job in 30 to 60 days.
Right.
Once we close the deal, we're done. We lost a job, and we go and interview for another job.
Love it.
So the key is how can you continually interview while you're still working those other jobs so that you constantly have a pipeline going. And that's a challenge that we try to help people overcome by a couple of different things. One is working with a company like us that we provide leads. One is on your own, which is sphere of influence, because people will work with you because they like you and trust you. So how do you reach out to your sphere of influence? Because on an average, people know 150 people. So if you know 100 people, you actually know 1,500 people, right? So the number just multiply. So how do you reach them, get in front of them? Well, nowadays with the social media space, it's extremely inexpensive to do. So one thing we recommend an agent to do is do more videos, because in the people business, visibility is credibility. The more they see you through video, through social media, because it's extremely cheap, because you can't go door knock and talk to everybody. You don't have enough time to scale that, right? So if you do video and you get social media and you target and you retarget the right audience and they see you and then you provide value, when they think of real estate, they think of you.
So let's break this down a little bit, because we all know that we need to do the work to get in front of the people, and then we need to provide value. So what I see a lot of folks struggling with is they know what they need to do, but they're paralyzed by fear. Fear of being seen as salesy, fear of the motive of what they're doing is to get a deal so it doesn't feel in alignment, and they struggle with what does it mean to give value? So do you guys try to coach your agents on customizing that process to be in alignment with something that excites them? I mean, what does it mean to give value? Is it the same across the board? Is there a rule that you guys say is this is it, and if you follow this, it's going to work? Because I think a lot of people know what they should do. They just get stuck with exactly how, and what am I going to say, and how am I going to do it, and how am I going to do it and not feel dumb doing it, and all that kind of stuff, right? It's all the bad self-talk.
Absolutely. So first of all, fear is what stops us all from succeeding, right? Because as human beings, we're afraid of the unknown. So our minds are very powerful things. Scientifically, studies have been that if you can get really good at lying to yourself and convince yourself of the outcome, you will no longer be afraid of it. So a lot of us will talk about, picturing, imagining what's going on, just like all athletes will talk about, right? They imagine themselves making a shot or scoring the goal. Once you do that, your brain starts thinking, okay, because you know knowledge and the unknown, this is the end result. So then all your actions and your thoughts and your words then follow. So that's the big thing. It's like we all been through failure and be afraid of. You're afraid to get on a bike to ride it because you think you're gonna fall, right? You're afraid to to ask a girl or guy on a date because many people said no to us. But eventually you overcome that somehow. So once you learn that, so the biggest thing I think in our culture is that we need to learn how to celebrate the no's more. Because the more no's you got, you're getting closer to a yes. So, I have a saying that instead of win or lose, you win or learn. Every time you don't win, you learn how to win next time. So that's number one. The other two thing is, we're really big that being on a people business, is before you have to deal with your fear, what if you make it easy for you? Get you to learn how to win first. Can you take smaller win? Eventually you'll be more brave to try for the bigger win. So one thing we do is that in the people business, there's a book that's called The 7 Different Styles of Success. So, your DISC test, right? And all this other tests out there and personalities. This one believed that there are 7 different styles of success based on your personalities. And some people have a combination of all 7, maybe just 1 or 2. Once we identify that, we help them focus on their strength first so that they can start winning. So for example, it's my 27th year. I've cold called and I door knock before. I'm pretty dang good at it, but I hate doing it, okay? It's not my favorite thing to do. We call that the hunter style. I believe only 8.3% of the population are hunters nowadays, because over thousands of years, we've evolved. You want meat, fish, vegetable, you go to the grocery store, nicely packaged, clean for you. You don't have to go on a 3-day hunt to bring back meat, okay? I prefer to cultivate relationship with my friends, families, sphere of influence. We call that the farmer style, because you cultivate. Then you have your expert style, first-time home buyer, luxury home, lake home, condo. You have your lifestyle one, church people, bikers, musicians. Then you have your billboard and your bus benches, right? People on the billboard and bus benches. Then you have your hyper-localist. You know, whatever your market is, you want to be the mayor of your town. When people think of real estate, they think of you because that's your hyper-local, local market. Then you have your tribal one. It's your tribe, your peeps. Black people, gay people, Asian, women, veterans, whoever you identify yourself with. Once you know the combination of who you are, that's what you're focused on. So if you think you're the hunter, go door knock, cold call all day. But if you're not a hunter and you try to prospect with cold call and door knock because someone told you this is what Erin does and she has great success at it, and you try to go be Erin, you will fail. So that's the one thing.
That is brilliant. This is the first time I've ever heard it broken down like that. And I love that because I think it's so important that people customize their process to be in alignment with who they are, who their personality, their values, and then allow flow to happen as a result. And then the focusing on winning is so important. I mean, that's fascinating. And you said you learned that from the 7 different styles of success?
Yeah. But here's the next step. So once you know that, you structure your day. Because most people in our industry, the way we work, we don't show up and punch in the clock, and we don't sit on like an assembly line because this is what you do, right? You know your job description, what you're supposed to do. For us, we can show up and we can go 3 days without doing nothing. And you realize you haven't prospected. So then you have to structure your day. You know, many of us call it the perfect daily schedule, right? So you structure your day for prospecting. From 9 to 11 o'clock, I'm going to call my sphere. From 11 to 1, I'm going to do whatever. Think about this analogy. When we were in school, I don't care if it's elementary, middle school, high school, whatever. When you go to school and your first period is math, what do? You study math your first period. You go to your second period, what do? Biology, right? The third one, history. You have to have structure the same way in your business to do that. But based on the small wins, from 9 to 11 o'clock, what if you call your sphere? That's not cold calling. You call Susie up. Susie, how you doing? What's going on? You know, just want to check in with you. Now, using tools and technology with AI function in it, they can identify who you should be calling. And just like cherry picking, right? You call Susie up because her probability of moving is 82% right now because whatever process system you're using. So now you call and Susie's happy to hear from you. That's a win. Okay, that's not so bad. Now I call Bob, who I haven't talked to in 3 years. Now I call John because someone referred me to John I've never talked to. Pretty soon you start winning. You call someone you let out of the white pages. We don't have white pages anymore, but that was actually my first prospecting experience I had. In my mortgage industry, when I first started out, I show up to a company because the advertising is we provide leads. So I show up my first day all excited. Yep. I'm like, all right, I'm ready. Where's my lead? You and I old enough to remember the white pages. You give me the white pages. Here's your lead. Start with A's.
Oh my God. I did the same. I'm like, that's so funny. I remember the first mortgage company I went over to when I was 100% commission, and it was like, we provide leads. And then there was no lead. All that I knew was that if I got their address and I could find out enough about them, I could send them Mother's Day card, Father's Day cards, Valentine's, St. Patty's Day. It didn't matter. I was like, I got your address. I'm going to love on you until you get a mortgage. And that might not be for a while, but when you do, you're going to think of me because I sent you every holiday under the sun, and you're going to think of me as the warm and fuzzy person that you want to work with.
So you just touched on something that I will piggyback off. So because we're in a people business as well, right? What people don't realize is that human nature is all behavioral. So we teach a class called the act of nurturing a relationship versus a lead, right? You nurture a relationship, and it's the art of nurturing relationships. So art is ART. So A is aspiration, R is research, and T is transactional. Based on what stage they're in, and now that you can actually identify that based on AI technology and all this marketing, platform that you have, you call them with different messages and when to call them. Because you don't want to call all 3,000 people in your database, right? You call the A that said, hey, John Smith, somehow you think that John might be aspiring to move up or move down. You now call John up just to check in. Oh, what a coincidence, Aaron. Good to hear from you. I was thinking, and now they're working with you, right?
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be, same with your industry. You could be calling because you saw people who at 5% interest rate, right now it's 3.5. You call in and check in with John, see how you're doing. Hey, by the way, I'm here to help you. Need anything? Oh yeah, I see interest rate is low, right? It's aspiration. I'm thinking about maybe refinancing. You got your research, you can tell when people are looking up on Google on what interest rate is here right now, what the trend's going to be. You call them up and you have a different message. Transactional. They're not looking for a loan officer because they want to buy a home or refinance their mortgage. You have a whole different message. So these are all the things that can help you win so that you feel more confident, than feel like you're going to lose all the time.
So let's talk a little bit about, you've mentioned systems and structure and all these things. And I think one of my questions for you, because this is really coming from personal experience, that I was never a very structured or a systematic person. I've always been notoriously impulsive and fly by the seat of my pants, and I'm just going to wing it, and I'm just going to grow my business organically. And if you know my story, the first few years, that didn't work out so well. So I know there's a lot of people that are drawn to the real estate industry for that quote unquote freedom and flexibility, and they don't want the structure, and so they almost abhor systems and structure. So are you naturally a systematic, structured person, or is that something that you developed as a skill set because you understand the relationship between structure and success? Because I think people need to know that even if you're not inherently structured or systematic, you can develop the ability to be so in order to have success, and maybe success would be inevitable if you would adapt that into your life.
So what I learned very early on, because my younger brother in that story earlier actually made the same journey and came to America at the age of 12. So both of us lived with my aunt and uncle in Minnesota. When I was 18, we went on our own. I raised him. He was in 8th grade. I worked 3 jobs. I went to school in Minnesota. So what I learned right away is time. Time, leverage is the new hustle, right? You got to leverage time and resource somehow. And I don't care if you're a billionaire or college kid who's trying to raise his brother, we all have the same amount of time. So successful people figure out not how to, not how to use time, right? So, so that's what you need to do, is that you have this finite amount of time. How do you use it most efficiently? So that's what I've learned. So because of that, in my personal life, I figure out how to be very efficient with time. And that translates then to carry on to your professional. What you don't do at home, you're not going to do at your office. Okay? Because that's something people don't realize. When I show up to work, I put on my suit, I put on my uniform, whatever, I go into work mode. Who you are at home too, or you are at the office too. So you have to be living that. So real estate and mortgage and most of our industry is not just a job or career, it's a lifestyle. Because that we have to live it. So because of that, I'm at home, I'm already system everything. Because if system and process, I can be more efficient. So I can do more with my time. Like, for example, my wife hates me because she thinks I have OCD, but I constantly reorganize the dishwasher because I think I can fit more dishes in.
Yeah, me too.
Place them a certain way, right? Sure. And then my clothes is color coded, long sleeve, short sleeve. Because when I go in there, I want to be efficient to pick out what I need right away. So I do the same thing then with my business. So what I do then is I recommend anybody to do this is that you have the 80-20 rule. If you go in and you break down 2 columns and you put in the left side income producing activity and the right side production supporting activity or everything else, you will find out you only spend 20% of your time on income producing activity and 80% of your time on the other stuff. Now, we are tracking 104% increase in our agent business when they come join us the first year. We double the business when they come to us as an average. Of course, you got your 900% increase, or 30%, but overall, we double the business. All simply asking them to go through this and helping them flip it. Instead of 20% income producing activity, what if you spend 40% of your time doing income producing activity, which leads back to prospecting. Mm-hmm. So if you come in every day and the only thing you focus on doing for the day is 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour prospecting, you will get it. Which also lead to this. You got to have a plan. Just because prospecting, what do you do during your prospecting, right? You got to have that. So you need to have the end in mind. Whatever your goal is, and you find out who you are in that 7 personality, and you know who your goal or what your goals are, you reverse engineer back. So for example, on the real estate side or mortgage side, this will apply as well. If you want to make 100,000, and I'll take an average, and each transaction you close pay you $5,000. If you want to make 100,000, we know what you need to close 20 transactions. So it's called a lagging and a leading indicator. So the lagging indicator, you want to make 100,000. The leading indicator, you got to close 20 transactions. So now that 20 closing become a lagging indicator, because the leading indicator is how many clients you need to have. Let's say you're on a 75% conversion ratio. That's why you have to track everything. That means you need to have 33 clients. I've done this many times. I know the math. If you have 33 clients, now become your lagging indicator. The leading indicator is how many appointments you need to have. If you're on a 50% conversion ratio, you need to have 66 appointments. If you have 66 appointments, how many engagements do you have to have, right, to get to it? Once you reverse engineer back to now, every day, the average day for me is to make 2 engagements and to set 1 appointment.
Yep.
Let's say that's what you figured out. That's what you do every day. Every day, no matter if you have 6 deals going on or 20 deals going on.
Yep. I love this. There's a couple podcast episodes that we've had where we talk a lot about this kind of just a simple rule. What does it look like to win the day, win the week, win the month, win the year? And just a little bit of discipline actually liberates you and gives you more freedom. Mm-hmm. And once I learned that in my own business, I found that the results skyrocketed. And then the strange byproduct is that I actually felt that I had more freedom and flexibility because once I followed my rules for the day, now I'm liberated because I followed the rules. I'm not wondering what I'm supposed to do today in order to hit my results. And I love the breaking it down from a yearly, then how many, we do the same thing where we have just the 50-50 rule. It's like, okay, well, if I want to close 8 transactions this month, that means I need to have 16 applications because if 50% of my applications close, mm-hmm. and then if 50% of my leads actually apply, then I need 32 leads. Right. And then let's break it down. What it works out to be is that however many closings I want in a month, I need that many leads in a week.
So that's simple, right?
You track it every day. That's it. So that means I need, 2 leads a day, Monday through Thursday. So if it's 1:00 in the afternoon and I don't have any referrals for the day, I'm going to pick up the phone and get to work because I know I haven't won the day yet. So it's really that simple. And there's a lot of folks that fear the systems and the structure because they just want it to be loosey-goosey and easygoing. But the results often demonstrate that does not work. And the simplicity of having a few simple rules gives you the results that you're seeking much faster.
Yep.
So that's fascinating. Are you guys looking to grow outside of Minnesota? Because what you're doing is so powerful for anyone that has the opportunity to meet you and be mentored by you, I'm sure.
So my business partner, his name is Mike Bernier. So we both travel around the country right now. As I share with you, we're right here in the Ritz-Carlton in Dana Point, California, Southern California. It's an awesome resort. We're meeting right now with other top 1% agents all around the country and broker to mastermind, share, and learn. So everywhere we go, and we tell people our model, like, you guys got to come here to this market. But what we've also learned is that let's take advantage of the opportunity we have first and right in the backyard, right? We're established in Minnesota. Right now, we're at about 3 to 4% market share, which is not bad for, a couple guys just started this about 5 years ago to start growing the brokerage. So one of about every 26 closing this year in the state of Minnesota will come from our firm. But we still have lots of opportunity. So we grow first in Minnesota and maximize it. Right now, we're licensed in Minnesota, Wisconsin. We're going to be going to Florida next because of the snowbird thing from Minnesota to Wisconsin. And then we have some other market that's very easy to get into. But for us, it's system-run business, people run system. We've got the system and process pretty much dialed in. But unless we have the right people, because we're in a human capital business, right? Whether it's acquiring buyer, seller, people want to refinance or get financing, you have to have the right people in place. Because we can have a great system, we go in the market, we don't have the right people, it won't work anyway. So why go so wide when we can go deep first? And that's kind of our strategy right now. But yes, it won't be long before we take this national because we will have something very special and very different. So the answer is yes. We just want to make sure we're probably about 2 years away from that.
There's no doubt you're doing something special. I guess my next question is, are you guys packaging this training in any way to share it with other business owners? Because the fact that you've had this going for only 5 or 6 years and you've already got over 400 agents, and then the success rate of your agents, it's through the roof. So are you sharing this model in any way?
Yes. So one thing that we start from the top down, right? So because when the people business, you hear me say that over and over again, over thousands a year, they figured out that there's 3 reasons why people want to belong to a group, a team, an organization. One is they want to feel safe. If they come to my company, Realty Group, they want to feel like long as Mike's going to take care of me, they're going to let me fail, they're not going to screw me out of my commission or whatever it is. Two is feel connected. God, I connect with those guys. You know, they're like who I want to be, who I want to lead me. I want to connect with other agents because we all, you know, like each other and we all have say similar needs. And the third one is share future. Okay, where are we all going with this? You know, our share future is I'm here to help you grow your business, and everything we do here in our ecosystem, we call it, is to help you grow your business. Because you're here to help me grow, I'm here to help you grow. So once we take those three things to along with a process system in place, how to achieve that, we can go everywhere. So we do have that package. We're working on figuring out how to scale it and and mass produce it.
Well, I love it. I mean, I'm so glad that you took the time to be on the show. I could talk to you for hours. There's so much more that we haven't even scratched the surface of.
Yeah, time flew right by.
I know, but you're in Laguna Beach and you need to get out there and enjoy that sunshine. So just tell us a little bit about how folks can either follow you, learn from you, connect with you, anything like that.
Yeah, so I don't know you'll post on it or not, but my name's, like as you mentioned, Long Doan, Long, D as in David, OAN. So you can Google me, I'll pop up. I'm sure it's on some stuff. I had a lot of articles on there about myself, Facebook group, LinkedIn, Instagram, all the social media. So you can find me anywhere. And anything you need from me, tell them to IM me, text me, email me, whatever they need. I'm here to pay it forward. So I help strangers all the time, just sitting down and asking them their business and helping them grow. And whatever I can do, I just want to be a part of somebody's journey.
Well, I can feel that authenticity. I'm going to get choked up again. You are amazing. You're an amazing human and a true inspiration. So thank you so much again for being on the show today.
Thank you, Erin.
All right. And for all of you out there listening, as always, I love and appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in today. And if you're looking to grow your business by referral, I want to encourage you to visit pursuingfreedom.com and download your free, fun, and easy 5-step guide to more referrals. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. We appreciate you. Have an awesome day.